Keeping with the theme of last week, I was mentioning about good soldiers. And the thing about a soldier is they're trained to endure. Makes no difference. It doesn't matter if you call yourself one thing, but you're not prepared for what that thing shall bring. So today I spent a lot of time looking at soldiers, in particular, special forces type soldiers, elite type soldiers. Bible says we're a royal priesthood, chosen generation. We are a peculiar people. We're a special breed of people. And so when I looked at what special operations type soldiers do, they don't do the ordinary. They don't do the basic. They excel, and because they excel, they're promoted to these types of regiments. So I looked at the training of the likes of Green Beret, Rangers, SEALs, and it was quite interesting. The first thing that was said in the first video, it said that there are no timeouts in war. No timeouts in war. You don't get to tell the devil, hold up. Give me just a second. I ain't got enough oil yet. Those things don't get to be said. So therefore, you have to be prepared in advance. And it was an interesting thing, me looking at these individuals, staff sergeant, drill sergeant. They didn't know each other, but yet they behave very similar. I mean, they're in your face. They didn't have much sympathy for people who they felt were babies. One brother, like, he fell out a little bit, and drill sergeant say, "What you want me to do? Rub your tummy? You want your mama? What do you want me to do?" Brother was, I'm looking at this. These brothers are tired. They've been up since the break of dawn. They've been running. They haven't eaten. They've been lifting. They push these people to the limit. And I thought about it. I said, why are they training so hard? They're training so hard because the stakes are high. Stakes are high. This is life and death. And I feel like a lot of times we don't view it in that lens when we come to Christ. This is life or death. You only get one chance. How are you going to do in that chance? And so it's breathtaking, some of the stuff that they have to do. And I remember it was a group of 10, and they were lifting this huge log, and they were having problems. Oh, they were struggling. Maybe if it was the first thing they had done, maybe they would have had strength to complete the task. But they had been up again, not a lot of sleep, no water, no food. Again, these are the elite. So it's expected there is a bar that they have to meet. There's a standard that has to be met. So they are struggling. So drill sergeant says, put down the log. He said, I see you're having problems. He said, now I want you to go over there and I want you to pick up misery. Misery is a 400-pound log. Way bigger than what they had. Oh, yeah. He said, now, I'm going to give you a chance. He said, if you want to put misery down, you have to hold it above your head for 45 seconds. Now, mind you, it's 10 of them, but they tired. And you begin to see who's the strongest and who ain't. You begin to see who's putting out effort and who ain't. And so he says, begin. Oh, it's a whole lot of shaking going on. Trying to hold this weight. It's a burden. It's a burden. And he, drill sergeant, no. And the one at the front, he couldn't stand it anymore. And he drops it and rests it upon his head. Drill sergeant stops the stopwatch. He says, you would have had it in another 4 seconds. He said, I know you're tired. And I know that works on your shoulders. But guess what? Do you think he said drop it? No. He said, let's do squats. Let's work another part of your body. And I'm like, my goodness. And I'm like, we get, and I'm looking at these recruits that are struggling with this. And what are we as Christians struggling with? Timeliness, tithes, attitude, stuff that can be easily cleaned up if we put effort into it. But we make it like it's misery. We make it like it's misery. So they did squats. And here's the thing he said. Here's the thing he said. And it's funny because Barnes mentioned it earlier today. He said, basically, anybody can make it. The only thing is, you got to come in here with your mind made up. I said, wow. You have to say in your mind, I'm not quitting. You have to say within yourself, I'm not giving up. I'm not fainting. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to endure. And I mean, what can you say? Endurance. To last. To keep going. To continue. But if you don't have your mind made up, it's not going to work. I'm reminded of a quote by Henry Ford. Said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. Well, that's not word, minister. All right, then. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So is he. So I was jotting down all kind of things, and I'm like, this is so disorganized. I don't know what Lord want me to do with this, blah, blah, blah. And I just wrote down a thing called observations. In about 3 or 4 different videos, I just made some observations. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. What I observed from these soldiers that wanted to be elite. The first observation I wrote was the instructor's job was to prepare them for combat. They didn't baby recruits. Let's go to Matthew 4:19. Also says that there was an expectation for command to follow commands quickly and to the letter. Matthew 4:19. Let's go up to 18. And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. Straightway. There was a command given, and the Bible says straightway immediately. They don't know him, but why would they follow him? Sounds to me like he had some authority. There was a spirit about him that said, I got to do what he says to do. Now we miss it because we think it's just Jesus we're supposed to obey. But when authority here says, do this, simple things, because that sign's been on the door for a while. It's not straightway no more. It's bargaining time at this point. We can't do that. We cannot do that. Many of us, I look at how this parallels to certain things in the Bible, such as Israelites coming out of Egypt. They have to go to a promised land, Dunbar. But everybody didn't make it. We had murmuring, complaining. We had bickering. We had, I'm going to do my own thing. And we think that we're not excluded from this text. You cannot endure with those type of traits. Long suffering, joy, peace. Where is this coming up? It's like we put we've put those things on ice to do what we want to do. You can't do that. And this work out in your favor. I wrote, second observation. Everyone had the same mission. Let's go to Philippians chapter 2. Philippians 2, starting at verse 1. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels in mercy, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. One mind, one accord. They had the same mission. Same mission. So my thoughts ought to align with the vision Bishop gave. So that means I ought not be gossiping on Facebook. I ought not be saying things, slandering my sister or my brother. These things, that's not of one mind. If we're supposed to be doing this in peace and love, there should be some harmonized. That's discord, what you doing. We can't do that. We cannot do that as elite soldiers, as precious jewels in God's eyes, as peculiar people. Can't do that. I wrote, number 3, more was expected of leaders. More was expected of leaders. Let's go to Luke chapter 12. Luke chapter 12, starting at verse 48. And it reads, "But he that knew not and did not commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more." Everybody's tired. Everybody has a work schedule. And I'm looking at these soldiers, and the drill sergeant, he's telling the cameraman that we're looking for the stragglers. We're also looking for those that are leaders. Where are they? Are you behind the pack when you're supposed to be out front? And he said, we get on them harder than we would the regular folk. Why? Because they are in leadership. Example need to be set that you don't lead from behind. Example should be set that when it's time to be here, you here. And on time. I'm like, there's so much stuff to be gleaned from what I was seeing. Paul said, as a good soldier, not any old soldier, not the run of the mill, not the one that don't care, no, good soldier. Okay, then there's an expectation then. Because why would he have to designate it as good? Which means that if there's a good, there's not so good. There's terrible. There's bad. Good soldier. Those are the type we are to aspire to be. And it doesn't matter the gender. Doesn't matter the gender. I did some math. I went to school. I can add. And the math was concerning a survey. The survey was something I just made up. I wanted to see how much time we actually spend in church. Okay. So first thing I did was, well, how many hours are there in a week? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, multiply, 168. 168 hours in a week. So then I said, well, how much activity does Word have during the week? You're talking sisterhood, you're talking brotherhood, you're talking discussions, Wednesday night service, youth night, choir, rehearsal, possibly praise team rehearsal, Sunday school and then Sunday service. And roughly, that amounts to about 12 hours. Roughly. About 12 hours a week. Because I want to put this, math don't lie. You know, they say math is racist. Well, it might be, but it definitely don't lie. It definitely don't lie. So when I divide 168 by 12, or 12 by 168, it comes up to a little over 7%. So 7% of the time, if you are actually here all week for your particular, for everything that we have, you're going to be here roughly 7% of the time. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. I mean, it was jaw-dropping for me. Jaw-dropping. But let's go a little further. What does the average person do at Word?
Preach. You preach, man. Yes, sir. Well,
We got an excuse for brotherhood, sisterhood. I'm tired with discussion. I'm sometime on Wednesday night. My child is supposed to be here for Friday youth meeting, but you know, my bunions and da da da. Ooh, I know ministers say we're supposed to be here for choir rehearsal, but you know, sister, she just came in town, and apparently she comes in town every week. So when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, most people only hear Sunday. Not Sunday school. So that cuts that down. So we starting at 11. But you don't get here at 11 either. So we talking roughly 2 hours. 2 hours. 2 divided by 168, 1%.